Alright everyone, today we're back to hips, hip flexors and a little bit of quads. We're going to start off with a little bit of stretching again and then go into a little bit of strength work. And for the first one, all you're going to do is just lie on your belly. From there, just going to try and reach behind to grab your foot. Squeeze your bum nice and tight and try and pull that foot down towards your arse cheek. From there, if you want to make it a little bit harder, you can lift your chest up and try and pull the foot to the outside of your bum cheek and really squeeze tight. Right. You might get something from that, you might not get a lot. If you're struggling for whatever reason to reach your foot, what you can do is get a little band or towel, pop it round your foot. It just means that when you go down, it's going to give you that bit extra ease to get to your foot. So lift it up, grab the band, put it nice and tight, and then use that to crank up or get a hold of your foot and pull it forward. Okay? Second stretch, there's a couple of different variations to it. First one, you're going to leave one leg flat on the floor. Take your foot slightly out to the side, so you're just sitting down, your arse cheeks going down to the floor rather than on your foot, and bring your opposite leg up. From there, just going to place our hands back behind us, lean back and drive the hips up nice and high. From there, you can try and lower yourself down with the elbows, or if you can, drop them down and then drive up. It's a good way of doing it, you're just going to isolate one leg at a time. If you want, you can get some supports there, so either your bum or your lower back, so you know you're not just going to drop. Alright, so as I come back this time, I know that's there, I can just leverage myself back over the blocks, books, bricks, whatever you might want to use. The other option is to do both legs at the same time. So from there, too close, as I come back, what I want to focus on is driving the hips up and then lowering down through them. If you leave the hips down, you're not going to feel as much of a stretch. We need to get that extension, so squeezing the arse cheeks and driving the pelvis forward and then lowering yourself down to really get a big stretch right through the hip flexor and into the quads. For both of them, I would recommend going for time, about 30 seconds if you're just doing it as a warm-up. If you're going for your mobility and actually trying to increase your range of motion there, I'll go for about 1 to 2 minutes for 2 to 3 rounds. It's a bit more difficult to do for reps, so if you are doing it for reps, I'd say just try and control it to hold for about 10 seconds, 5 to 10 seconds for about 6 reps. Each time trying to get a little bit lower, focus on your breathing, keeping those hips up, and then gradually try and increase your range each time on the reps. So, for the next one, for the strength exercise, it's going to be a little bit different. If you've got your small band, awesome, let's use that. Just going to pop it on, bring it up to above your knees, just above the knees, and then we're going to come down to our side, and we're going to focus on some side planks. For the side plank, I want you to focus on driving your elbow into the floor, and chest and shoulder through, so you're locking in the back of your shoulder nice and strong. We're not just collapsing and flopping into it, actively driving the full time. We want to try and get your knees, hips and shoulders roughly stacked, and from there we're going to drive up and just leave our legs bent this time, right? We're not going to focus too much on the straight leg, because from here what we're going to focus on is lifting that top leg and doing clamshells in this hold to try and strengthen the opposing muscle groups of the hip flexors. So if a glute isn't activating properly, it can mean the hip flexor gets overworked sometimes and then becomes very tight and weak from that. So just a little variation of a strength exercise, try and get the glutes activated and firing off a bit more to take tension away from the hip flexors. For this, I'll probably go for 2 to 3 rounds of 8 to 12 reps each side. Just focus on keeping those hips up as high as you can. If you feel them dropping, so as you're doing your reps, if you feel your hips sinking towards the floor, actively drive back up, reset, and keep them high as you can the full time. Okay? So, I hope you enjoy, guys. Any questions, just ask.